World of Warcraft's had this problem for a long time, but today Blizzard are actually introducing a solution. Now, as an example, if you don't know what's up with these guys, or this thing, you won't know what's up with the War Within's final patch, or World of Warcraft's next expansion, and you won't enjoy them as much as you should, as you could. You'll miss the detail, you'll miss the depth, and in many ways, it wouldn't be your fault, not really. Lore is stuck in wikis, lore videos, sorry about that, and things outside the game. And when Blizzard does do campaigns, they're often blazingly fast, and they're in a tough spot. They can't rely on the depth of Warcraft's world because they know most people don't really have much of an idea. That then waters down the story, and that signals to you that you shouldn't really bother. But now we've actually got a proper solution. It's real interesting, and they're not doing it in a one-off way, which is why I'm actually excited. It's called Lorewalking. The beloved Lorewalker show is back, voiced by Jim Cummings. He's still a storyteller, and with this, Blizzard have finally found a way not just to tell you the backstory, not just to show you it, but to actually have you play it. I've also got a bit of a challenge for you. Give me 30 minutes, and with today's sponsor, you'll finally have the website that you've been meaning to build. So Squarespace is an easy-to-use site builder and award-winning templates, but they have developed so much as a platform lately. Design Intelligence is their mix of tools that help you access their 20 years of design experience easily. It starts with Blueprint AI, and that starts with a few questions. Once you answer those, you'll use their interactive design system to build your own template, just the way that you like it, but with them keeping you right, with designer-picked fonts and color palettes, all matched to your aesthetic, and then from there, you can iterate on your copy and your content. It's all seamlessly integrated, and if you've just been overwhelmed in the past, or you just want to start quickly with all of your bases covered, this set of features is literally made for you. And their core platform is always growing as well. They've got native video support, so you can have a gorgeous player, you can have video gallery layouts that are all interoperable with their e-commerce tools. It's real impressive, and when I needed sites, Squarespace was my first port of call because they make it easy. So to get started today, go to squarespace.com/BellularGaming, check out Design Intelligence, and when you're ready to send your site live, use code BellularGaming for 10% off your first purchase of a site or domain. In the beginning, Warcraft started with the story being told in the in-game manual and these funny little cutscenes. And the way it worked is playing the game created a hunger. The manual say to that hunger, Chris Mattson got a little bit more power, the sequels capitalized and all that. By Warcraft 3, Blizzard built out a lot. Then World of Warcraft comes in. It blasts the lore open, it crams the world full of quest text. So no wonder the people fell in love with it, got lost within it. But now, for example, assuming we're going to Koresh in patch 11.2, well, to fully appreciate that patch, you would have to know the lore from the 18-year-old quests in Netherstorm, which was part of the Burning Crusade. And this problem is exactly what Lorewalking solves, but not in the way that, say, Witcher 3 or Yakuza 0, two 2015 games that recap their massive stories with a big old opening recap cutscene. No, WoW's is actually better. It's a playable recap, but it's not just a rehash of old content. Lorewalking is actually adding in narration, new content, and it fills in major gaps. So with that said, let's take a look at the first version. Lorewalker Joe is finally living up to his name. You'll find him sitting in the major cities, and he'll take you through a guided tour of the past, catching you up on stories woven through WoW's years and years of questing. So here's how it works. A Lorewalking campaign is a curated selection of quests from throughout WoW's history, with a voiceover from Cho himself that basically talks to you about what is happening and why it's happening. Basically, Blizzard have found a way to take old quest lines and stories, repackage them together, and then run their modern voice line driven approach over the top of all of that. Which basically means if you don't like reading the quest text, that's completely fine. Cho basically, well, he doesn't literally do it for you, but if you listen to him, you get a nice story. You don't have to do all of that pesky reading. So you'll flow from quest to quest without getting a whole bunch of filler quests that back in the day would kind of confuse people, or, you know, mixing and matching between doing a random bit of a story, then another random bit, then getting lost, going to another zone, and forgetting the story that you started originally. You basically get to stay on a lovely single state of flow, doing quests that actually matter to your experience, all just one story. Now, you get rewarded as well. You'll get some endgame currencies like you do with regular world content, but also some insanely cool toys. Take a look at this. If you want xal'atath as a permanent voice in your ear, Sure, a lot of people do. Well, you can get that. Just experience her story and you'll get that as a toy. And what's neat is it's not just recaps. All 3 available ones have got extra content added, and the Arthas one is probably the best example. It's got whole new playable segments as Arthas. It's really neat. You get new insights into his life as a paladin first, then you run through the key parts of his life in existing quests, you experience the final showdown in Icecrown from his perspective, and it's really quite cool. It honestly feels like a prototype for something new, and hearing that, I'm sure you want to hop in and try it. It actually feels like a new experience within the game, not one that's just make your gear number go up. Pretty cool. Now, the other ones are the obvious World Soul Saga catch-up bits, but they're done quite well. There's one in the Ethereals. It takes you through the original Outland quest stuff, so you do some ancient quests while Cho tells you about Koresh. Of course, he does take the opportunity to give you some gentle little nudges, like questioning if Dementius was really killed that day in Outland. Spoilers, he wasn't. We'll probably kill him next expansion. Cho even takes you further to learn about the brokers in the Shadowlands, and, well, we've done a whole lore video on it, but basically it's the connection between the brokers and the Ethereals. It's really cool. And honestly, even just the concept of it being just a story that is, retold, but with Cho, that feels really good. I'll leave the details for you to discover. There'll be an upcoming lore video and all of that stuff, but more importantly today, we need to talk about how this can save WoW's story. There's a big thing you may have noticed looking at our footage, right? This is not just endgame. This is available to level 10 characters. You get full XP the whole time you're killing mobs and questing, so I think here's the vision. Imagine that instead of locking fresh characters to the latest expansion, which definitely will cause issues in The Last Titan and beyond, well, use a feature like this, right, to level up your characters. And here's why I think it works in a way that Chromie Time never really could. Chromie Time was a neat way to scale the world down, but you don't really get a story experience doing it. I mean, come on, it's so absurdly fast. This, though, feels like a version 2 of that, but instead of being left to your own devices, you get a curated, narrated story experience. That actually feels like a bit of content that's worth paying for. Currently there are 3, we know there's going to be at least one more, and you can't imagine just picking another one and another until you're max level, all just getting brilliant story content. And the potential here is insane. Literally on any topic you can imagine, Blizzard can pick the quests, then let Cho talk the player through all of them while you get to stay in the flow, just doing your questing. And if they want to add in any little lore cutscenes or updates, as we've seen them do already, Blizzard can just go and do that. And this way, they might finally do what we've wanted for years. Campaigns that include the likes of raids and dungeons. I mean, with the tech they've made for story mode and this framework, it does feel like this is the start of a storytelling revamp, the like of which we didn't really think we were ever going to get. Imagine, for example, a full Garrosh campaign. Maybe it starts in Nagrand in the Burning Crusade. Thrall meets Garrosh. Cho tells you about the history of Grom. It takes you through the key quests in Cataclysm, where you get to see him unravel, right? Become, well, a bit more like Garrosh. Cho then gets to add in little details about the pressure that Thrall was putting him under. Then you hit Pandaria, you watch the fallout of Theramore, you see his madness come to light, and finally put an end to him in the Siege of Orgrimmar in a story mode like fight. And then, of course, you watch Thrall, just hit the execute button over in Draenor. So you could get that, all with no fluff, and with Lorewalker Cho's brilliant voice acting to just give you all the missing bits and tie it all together. Think about that in terms of new player experience. They actually get to see a full story arc happen in the world of Warcraft, as opposed to right now where they're yoked into dragonflight and don't really know what's going on with anything. And not to fully spoil a project we've been working on for quite a while, but this is a real problem for World of Warcraft. Having recently leveled a fresh account for a reason you'll find out soon in a video, we just as a team realized that it really does suck for a new player. Dragonflight is not a bad expansion, but going from Exile's Reach to Dragonflight to the War Within is pure insane crazy whiplash. Now, Holly recently talked about wanting to revamp the new player experience. I think this could be a fairly major part of that, and I think this could make the modern game story actually make sense to people, and to do that without asking for the dozens of hours that it takes to get the Lorewalker achievement. Because let's be real, a lot of the people who get the Lorewalker achievement have just race through the quest really quickly to get the achievement. They may not actually know all of what's going on. Here, though, you get slices of WoW's best story retold with more flair and in bite-sized chunks that are understandable. For the modern day, for the modern game, that essentially sounds like a perfect thing for Blizzard to have. So, what's there is great, the promise is even better, but yeah, I'm starting to sound like a broken record, but I gotta say it. We don't always have the most faith in Blizzard following up on potential here, right? Just think about the history. Now, to their credit, they're working hard to change that perception, but the track record is a little bit spotty. Don't get me wrong, they are improving features over time, but that tends to find the most success whenever they fail a few times and then kind of start again from scratch. I suppose my greatest fear with Lorewalking is that it happens now, and then it's kind of dropped as soon as its immediate utility goes away. Because there is a lot of immediate utility to this. Who knows if they'll have Arthas be relevant again, but as for the other two campaigns, well, the xal'atath one explains a major part of the main villain right now, and the ethereal stuff almost certainly explains the next patch. You can see there's an obvious utility there, so the fear is that Blizzard won't really make these for the sake of making them. That does concern me a little bit, but I only fear that because of Lorewalking's promise, that it could finally solve the problem with World of Warcraft's lore, to take what is not in WoW and actually put it in WoW. And this includes countless huge moments, character stories that people would enjoy, vocal performances that could cut through and actually rebuild people's emotional connection with Warcraft. Now, so far, there are 3 in-game: xal'atath, ethereals, and the Arthas stuff. And there is data mining as well. That data mining points to there being a 4th, Quel'Thalas. Now, that's where Midnight, our next expansion, is going to be set. And if Blizzard gets these right, it will be properly exciting. I mean, people love Final Fantasy XIV for its stories, both the MSQ and one-off stuff. And not just because it's Final Fantasy and people think about, like, Final Fantasy and narrative. No, because it tends to be really good, and they've come to expect it with new patches. So, Blizzard, you can actually rebuild the narrative credibility. You can imbue all the gamey elements of WoW that we have fun playing with a new sense of meaning by getting people back into the narrative. And I think in doing so, Blizzard will get more bang for their buck. They'll turn fair-weather players into emotionally invested fans. And if they want this franchise to be around for the long haul, that's what they need to do. I think this system is a perfect way to do that. And I mean, hey, you can actually say to somebody, maybe you want to get your friend into World of Warcraft and they know about the Lich King. You'll be able to say, oh, well, actually, when you make a new character, you can play through the Lich King storyline in this new thing they added. That actually could hook a new player into the game. I think it could be pretty big. So let me know what you think. What stories do you think they should cover? And if you just can't wait for the real juicy lore, check out this video on xal'atath and the really cool things that we've learned about her.